certain things that y'all should have never known or been responsible for. And that doesn't just hold true here. That holds true everywhere because your shoulders weren't designed nor strong enough for that. Are you able to now take that nugget? You get muscle memory from it. And have that in your life. Many adults that are seasoned adults don't premium adults don't understand time, tone, and just intentionality. Right. They miss it. So I would say that that's getting you ready for the real world early. And your life speaks to that. Even the decisions and the feats that you have overcome, the things that you've been able to do. And I would say sometimes navigating the situations that y'all did early on does make it difficult sometimes to be a child. For sure. It makes it difficult because you want to relax, you want to chill out, but you're used to responsibility. Right. You're used to being mature. You're used to having to navigate spaces that required a different level of maturity. Right. And so it's hard even now, like at 22, it's hard when I don't have nothing to do, uh, like just to relax. Mm-hmm. Like it's hard to do that sometimes, and so I go find something else to get into. Right. But everything has a pro and con to it. So that's why I don't always look at it as negatives because I know people that are lazy. I will say you're getting better at having a great time. Free time. Yeah, free time. You are now your planner. She is bigger planner than me. I'm type A. She maps out and schedules and calendar and organizes everything. I have organized dysfunction. Is that what it is? You're like type C. Organize. Yeah. Organized dysfunction. And you're organized. Yes. But you are learning to have more downtime. You're hanging out with your friends more. And those are things I encouraged, right? I wanted you to be able to have time to not necessarily detach, but recharge. Right. Okay, so now we're moving to segment 2. Okay. The stuff we don't talk about enough. Okay. What did your mom teach you about being a woman that you passed to me on purpose or not? Oh, you hitting it hard early. Okay, on purpose or not. A woman. What did your mom teach you about being a woman that you passed on to me? Whether it was on purpose or you're like, you really didn't think about it. It just happened. Did I get the Lotus stuck? I would say I've taught you to be a homemaker. I've taught you the importance of caring for your family, especially your children. Wow. And I'm sitting here. The reason why it took me so long to say that answer is because now we live in a society where gender roles and societal norms are not what they used to be. So when you threw that word in there, a woman, it doesn't necessarily mean that the woman has to be the homemaker in these days and times, right? 2025, that may not be the case anymore. Right. However, I would have to say, from my era, that's what taught me. Right. Would you say you taught that? Were taught that? I was there for you. Yes. Okay. You were definitely a homemaker. I tell people all the time, I grew up very traditional. I never took out trash. I washed dishes, but I never took out trash. My brothers did that. Even now, at 22 and how the world is changing and progressing, we still don't really, because we grew up so traditional, we still do our gender norm stuff. So I still feel comfortable doing laundry, washing dishes, and Craig and Lil Will, they take out trash and they do, their men jobs. But
I guess that's a thing you taught me. I think also, I don't think you did this on purpose, but even the way I dress, you were very mindful about how I dress as a woman, and you made me dress in my age group, and you also dressed me according to my body type. And now I see girls at 22 that are like friends or mutual friends. I'm like, we're a girdle, or
not by girl.
or where's your lap scarf? You know, things of that nature. And so I don't think you taught me all of that on purpose. Some of it was probably on purpose, but you taught me how to be a woman or how to show my woman side.
Maybe not as much as the femininity that you would want, or the emotional side that you would want, but I get what you're saying.
Respect, appearance wise, and I guess values and morals. I guess. What's one mistake you made as a mother that you learned from?
Trying to love my children equally. I think as a mom or as in parents in general, we don't want to make a difference in our children, right? Or some of us. I can't speak for everybody. I didn't want to make a difference in my children, because now I have a baby, a middle, an older, and I have bonus children.
Right.
And especially when the bonus children came in, I really wanted to try to make sure everybody had me equally. Right. That is a common mistake that we make as parents, because our children can't be loved equally because they all require something different. So with me, all of you have different needs at different times, and you all grow, mature, process, and progress differently. That is one of the major mistakes that I made. And I often say if I could go back in time and change that, I would. But I feel like that it's all working together. I think one of the biggest things that happened or transpired was I had to learn to give myself grace.
Right.
Because I wouldn't give myself grace where you all were concerned. I used to beat myself up. I used to be ashamed. But when I started really thinking and processing,
Right.
and understanding to not dwell on what I've done and not allow y'all to hold it over my head or anybody else, because the enemy will play with that in my mind, and he has. The guilt and shame, I had to heal from that, and I had to make the most of this new time that's been afforded to us. Does that make sense?
It makes sense a lot.
I've had to, and I'm the first to say, I'm still working on it. I'm not perfect.
So we're constantly evolving as humans, and you also have a big age gap. Craig and I, we're 6 years apart or 5 years apart. Lua, we're a year and
Y'all Irish twins, kind of.
Irish, and so it's like we're all starting different phases of our life at different times, and you don't get a playbook, and you don't get a hand guide. And so you're really just trying to make the best of your situation.
And that is sometimes challenging in itself to undo or try to undo what was done.
Right.
Because one of the challenges for me in the healing, restoration, recovery period was, once you go through your abuse,
Right.
and then you come back and you try to heal, you're now reliving that abuse. And things that you've tucked away that you didn't deal with,
They have to come back up in order for you to heal.
So you now have to go back through it. And anything about vomit. Vomit is regurgitated food. That food smelled and tasted good going down, but coming back up, it has a funk, it has a stink, and it's no longer digestible. So now when you go back through the, it's acidic.
Yeah,
And
toxic.
ooh. So now those things that you did not deal with, you're now having to deal with it. So imagine trying to undo or heal from or address some of the challenges that I made decisions and choices and caused, right?
Going through something traumatic is a form of PTSD. I had post traumatic disorder. Like it's a form of PTSD. I think sometimes people are like, "Oh, I dealt with it. We're over that. I'm over that obstacle." But when you're truly healing and something comes back up, you're now dealing with new emotions. You're now dealing with things you've suppressed for so long. And so when you suppress your emotions and then you try to unpack those emotions, now you have to deal with 10 times worse the problem.
Because you have growth and maturity.
Release.
So those things that you did before, and now you're able to see it through a different lens of maturity and growth. You're like, oh my God, how did I do that?
Right.
How did I allow that? So now you start beating yourself up about what you've done. And let's talk about it. With trauma, or even if you're trying to heal situations and relationships, there are days when something old may look like it's going to come back up, and then your red flag, you're like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
They told me they were sorry about that, but
Pump the brakes.
this kind of looks like what they did before. I ain't going back down there. I thought you changed. You ain't really changed. You was fooling me. You know, things like that.
You start to kind of gaslight your own self. You don't trust your own opinions or your own ideas. Like you start to make things up in your head. And so that's interesting you said that.
Yeah, it's real. It's real.
People really do go through that. Okay. Is there something you've always wanted to ask me but never did?
I think I will.
Oh, God. Okay. This is a freebie.
It's a freebie, okay. And she's allowing me to do it on air. All right, cool. So, why do you think, as your mother, I did not love you?
I feel like you did love me as my mom. I felt like how you expressed it wasn't how I wanted to receive it.
Okay.
And this is where love languages come in, even in parental and child relationships. I think a lot of times people only think love languages are good in romantic relationships.
That's good, Kiaja.
But I think learning how your family member likes to receive love or give love is a big piece of having family. So I felt like, you know, a lot of your love language is more physical touch. My love language is not physical touch. So I didn't want her hugs and kisses. Now I take them because, you know, I know her love language. But a lot of it was acts of service, making my bed, things of that nature. I knew you loved me through those or through that aspect. But for me, it's quality time. I wanted to genuinely spend time with you. And I think, yeah, we spent time together, but a lot of it was you had 3 children. So it's like I had to divvy you up with Craig and Little Will. And so a lot of times like I kind of just want girl time. And these 2 boys right here,
Right.
or my dad is around. Like I wanted genuine girl time. And also, like you said, I'm a big girl's girl. I like girly things. You are kind of tomboyish. So a lot of
And I'm kinda.
a lot of things you like to do, I don't like to do, and a lot of things I like to do, you don't like to do. So it's very hard finding things we both agree upon doing for the activity. So 9 times out of 10, we would start we would start arguing at the time we were supposed to spend time together. And so I think that's a big piece on why I didn't feel like you loved me. I felt like because I was so mature and I kind of grew up quicker than like my peers and my siblings. Um, I grew up quicker, and so it's like I started to really depend on myself, and I wasn't looking for anyone to not love me, but I wasn't looking for anybody to hold my hand. So I was very independent, and I wasn't looking for the reassurance that a 13 or 14-year-old girl would want from her parent. And so now,
But need it.
right, but need it. But now I'm 22, I was like, dang, I really did need that, and I should have spoken up then, and I should not have went silent.
You didn't know.
Right.
You didn't know. Are you speaking up now?
Trying to. I'm trying to.
You're doing a lot better. You used to shut down.
A lot.
And it's so funny how a person can be vocal but also shut down.
I think what happens where that occurs is I say things like once or twice. I give a person my voice once or twice, and then I kind of just go into, okay, they didn't hear me.
Right.
They don't respect what I just said.
Right.
And so there you get the shutdown. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's not good. I think it keeps me out of situation where people don't respect me, but it also takes away the opportunity for a person to know what I need, especially if they genuinely want to know. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest, I don't always give people time to make the changes necessary. For some odd reason, I believe Rome was built overnight. So it's like I don't give enough time or I didn't give enough time for a person to actually make changes.
Oh, I totally get it.
I want it pronto. Respect me, pronto.
Where do you think that came from?
I think another part is like my daddy spoiling me.
Okay, you're able to say that out loud.
I'm self-aware. We'll work on it. But I think a lot of times, like you said, I was the only girl. I was kind of used to getting my way. And so now I said what I needed to say, and now things aren't happening overnight. So now I'm mad about that. So I'm just picking reasons to get mad at the person, cut them off, and be mad.
You want for us to produce, like...
What's the little bee movie, the ants, where they...
Worker bees?
Yes. Pronto.